to our panelists, then we go to our close. Now, Mingo.
Thank you, Chair. It has been an enriching encounter with the various speakers and the comments, but I want to particularly react to a comment made by my friend Boya in regard to a statement that the speaker said that knowledge is power. Knowledge is not power. The use of that knowledge is what power is. Otherwise, we have known so much, but if we sit back on it, it doesn't help anybody. And I just want to, that's number one. Number two is, I think we had some conversation with my friend Boy at one point, but we slackened on this. I work with the Kenya Maritime Authority, and we regulate the sector. And the maritime training, in terms of the quality, in terms of the standards, is an area that we give a lot of effort and time to be able to bring up. For the water related, for the seafarers, that is standardized. So we have standards and we comply with those ones. We have also captured the issue of training and the logistics. And what I urge is that we generate some very common conversation dealing in this particular area. My last conversation with Mboya was just a comma. We didn't put a full stop, but your idea is good. Let's link up and see from the regulatory point of view how we can be able to bring this aspect to resuscitate our logistics sector, because we cannot just be talking about it and nothing happens. We are in the process of working on these regulations, which also captures maritime training and education. Apart from the seafarers education, we are also dealing with the logistics, some standards and the way of developing them. We are working closely with TVETA and those other agencies. So I would rope in the conversation from the FIFA point of view, from what it thinks, so that at this stage of formative stage of working on those regulations, we see how we can lock up the idea that is bringing, so that we have a say in terms of how we can be able to manage the quality, the level of training, the standards, and the recognition regionally. And in that way, we'll be able to stand. So with the information that we have had here, if we go ahead and implement, then knowledge now becomes what you are saying, it becomes a power. When we act, then it helps us move forward so that we don't talk about it any other time we meet, but we get that group of recognition coming in and the legal structure that we are currently developing, picking it up, and then we see how we can rope all the other agents so that the logistics becomes something that we can be proud of, and we practice just like the other professions have been mentioned in this forum. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. On the same table, so choose who speaks first.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thanks.
And please introduce yourself before you, so that we know.
Okay, my name is Dennis Ombok. I'm the CEO for Kenya Transport Association. The proceedings here are very wonderful, and actually the presentation that was done is very wonderful. The moderators are wonderful too. But then what I felt is left out is that we are only looking at cargo that is coming in and cargo that is going out. But we are not taking people in consideration. How do we uplift people to do business so that we may realize volumes? We have to engage people, we have to uplift people. Because when you look at our region, the poverty index is very great, very high. For instance, when you look at Burundi, 85% of the population of Burundi live in less than $1.25. We have 75 in Tanzania, we have 70 in Rwanda, we have Kenya 45, and then we have Uganda 40%. Now then we are talking about what we export are just mere empty containers. These mere empty containers, we can reduce them when we engage our people in active business. How then do we engage people in active business? So that we may not be able just to be repatriating empty containers to those foreign land. So what is required of us to do, one, is to identify the causes of this poverty. Poverty is a threat to our region. So once we identify the causes of poverty, then each and every one of us will be in business. And once we're in business, then we have many volumes going out in terms of exports. Then after identifying the causes of poverty, then let's look at the effects of the effects of poverty. And then we see on how we can mitigate this poverty. Then we come to solutions, how best we resolve this. So me, what I'm saying is that what we need to do is to engage our people in active business. We engage our people in active business. Then again, we need to engage our people in agribusiness and agro-industry. Because when you look at agribusiness, this is the only sector where the government has got a lot of incentives. So how do we need to sensitize our people and tell them that please do farming, such kind of thing, so that we may be able also to export to other countries. So let's just look at if somebody has gone to China and has bought a container. No, let's look at how do we get hold of hands of our people here so that they can be in active business. So when we engage people in agribusiness, such as manufacturing, farming, food supply, seed supply, agri-chemicals, then our people would be motivated. Our people will be able to do business, and therefore we will be able to return these containers with cargo outside. So we look trying that 80% of containers that we have are just really empty. So then we also need to simplify the regulatory environment to improve regional business and investment. So the regulations that we have today, some of them are so hard that are unable, we cannot even fit well. We cannot be able to do business because of those has a regulatory environment in which we operate. So then we need to facilitate business through simplified administrative procedures. So many speakers have talked about that we needed to simplify the procedures. So when we simplify the procedures, then we see the benefits. And one of the big benefits that we'll see when procedures are simplified, one is to reduce corruption. So the corruption would be not there. Corruption will be gone. Then it will also be able to empower small entrepreneurs. They will be able also to fit well in the business environment. Then that one also will be able to remove bureaucratic barriers to trade. Then we will also be able to increase government revenue. So these are some of the things that we need to do. So when we're speaking here, we touched several issues that some of them should be mitigated by the revenue authority, and it is unfortunate that the revenue authorities are not here, or can only see a representative from Rwanda. There are things that we need to speak about. For instance, a revenue authority, or they come up with control tools, such that they are able to monitor what comes in and what goes out of the country. So there must be monitoring tools. There must be tools to monitor that. So these control measures must be there. We don't say they are bad, but some of the control measures that they put act as by the business. So when you look at one, there is this arrangement called quota system. From the control tools, you have the entry, you have the tariff where taxes are, and then you have the NTBs now where we have to combine quota system, all those kind of things. So when you look at quota system, this is a program that is meant for people to bring in some goods subsidized whatever we already have in the region. But then you find that most of the businessmen that are given this quota or who benefit from the quota system do abuse them. For instance, in the sugar industry, where we have the quota system, you realize that most of the importers that are given that tender or that contract to bring sugar under this program do abuse and surpass the limit that they are given. And what happens if you surpass the limit that you were given? What happens is that even the local farmers, whatever we produce locally in the region, won't get market because we rely on what has been brought from outside. So the quota system, what do we do at the East African Business Council to ensure that whoever earns that privilege, or whoever gets that privilege of importing a commodity under quota system, do so and bring so whatever limit is given. not surpassing. Because if you surpass it, then it means the entire manufacturers or farmers who definitely suffer. So we need to do something so that we make sure that whatever is given to you is what you bring. Then this element of freight. Today we are talking about freight has gone up, freight has gone up. And the revenue authorities are taking freight to be part of the customs value. You know, in our region, mostly we compute taxes based on customs value. On customs value, we say the cost of the product, the insurance, and the freight. But now, if the freight has gone up, don't you think the customs value will be abnormal? And if the customs value is abnormal, don't you think you will pay higher taxes? And if you pay higher taxes, don't you think that one will demotivate so that you don't even go outside there to import? So the idea of freight being an element and be part of tax computation, I think we should talk about it, it should be expired. So when we be revising the EAC, the East African Customs Levy Tax 2004, we are going to look at the fourth schedule, where the fourth schedule talks about valuation of goods. So we needed to remove some of the items that we feel abnormally increases the customs value, because taxes are computed based on customs value. How about if we will be bringing imports and then we compute taxes on FOB? Don't you think that the taxes will be so minimal that everybody even here we want to bring 10 containers? Because we compute on FOB. So it will be so easier for us. But if you put it, you keep on adding value, you add insurance. And insurance is something that is payable to somebody else. The freight is payable to somebody else. And then you bring all those elements, you lump them over the coast, and then you say the taxes must be computed on CIA, and the taxes are going up. So I don't see that one as a good idea. Then we also have AEO programs. You know what the revenue authorities were telling us, that once you become an AEO program, you know your goods clearance process will be under Green Channel. We are not seeing this. If you're a transport under AEO, you will even be loading without even a clerk import. But today, the AEO programs are not working. People have got AEO. In fact, most of the people, transporters, clearing agents, importers, they are under this. They have been accredited as AEOs. But they don't take anything. Nothing, no benefit at all. So we need to tell our revenue authorities that, but before even you go to that status of AEO, there are a lot of things that you are taken through, a lot of checks. But then you get it, still don't benefit from it. Your cargo, you load and everything still goes through the normal process. So these are some of the things that we need to see. License procedures, even for clearing agents, even for importers, you need to import, you need certain licenses, takes you a year. So these things makes business very difficult in our region. If you need to import something and it requires a license for that matter, or a permit for that matter, and most of the items that require a permit or license those are restricted imports or restricted exports. So if I'm interested in importing a restricted import, then and it requires a permit, then why don't these agencies that are responsible for giving this permit or license do it expedite so that I get this license in good time so that I may be able to be in business? Then I'll also talk about value adjustment, which is
That is a trial.
I know. It's the last one, by the way. So valuation. We know the importers, most of the importers, they do their calculations. They say if I bring one by 20 container, say contain rice, Pakistan rice, grade 1, whichever grade. If I bring it the cost in Pakistan with this, I pay this, it was this. When it lands in Kenya, I'm most likely to pay this. So you budgeted the amount, specific amount, so that when the cargo lands at Port of Mombasa, you know this is what I'll pay as taxes. But then, when this container lands here, then you find taxes are doubled or tripled. Then your container gets up, doing demurrages, storages, you carry up your hand, say, let it be what. So you leave it there and it's auctioned. So you go back, a very broke person, a poor person than even before. So what I'm saying is that we need to have systems guiding evaluations, guiding also, so that when I do my calculations, I know when I bring this kind of product, I'll be able to pay this. So my recommendation to EABC, what I would say as my recommendation is, we need EABC to come up with a business facilitation program, which offers a series of efficient tools, because we talk about information digitization. So we need EABC to come up with a business facilitation program which offers a series of efficient tools of information and communications technology and interaction methodologies to clarify and simplify procedures. So that is my call to EABC. So that we may be able to do everything automated so that we don't waste time when clearing goods or when transporting goods to other neighboring states. Thank you, Mr. Langat. I had more. I really wanted to talk about EABC, but because of time, let me just sit down. If you allow me, I'll come back again.
Thank you. I think that's a very good presentation. And that gives us a challenge, and this challenge I'm giving it to EABC. We need to have a further sitting, probably a different kind of sitting where we bring in a few people, bring in some of these ideas, we consolidate them into a private sector voice, then we can be able to present them to the relevant institutions. Before we get to the end, I had seen one hand there, but before I'll allow one more person before we get the chair of EABC. Having had all these discussions that have gone on, what are your reflections and the reflections of EABC going forward for this? Before then we come to a closure where we'll allow each of the panelists to make a comment and probably respond to an issue that may have come up. And then we go to a way forward and close the day. I know it was a breakfast meeting, but the discussions have extended substantially. We still want to discuss more. Probably the chair said earlier that yes, it's one of those meetings that are happening, physical meetings that are happening after a very long time where we've been walking through virtual systems. So this may have influenced the reason why this has extended slightly more. So yeah, let me have a reaction from then we will get from the EABC chair.
Yeah, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. I think mine will be short, and it's not easy to talk after Dennis, because all the questions I think were addressed to revenue authorities. I'm Jane Pirongi, representing Rwanda Revenue Authority here in Kenya. First of all, I want to thank all the presenters for the good presentations they have made to us. Again, I extend my appreciation to one of the panelists who appreciated the good work for the for the revenue authorities are doing under single customs territory. I have some few comments, observations, and some questions. Mine will be short. I will try to summarize. I think the first one is concerning the Northern Corridor being very, very expensive. Even before COVID-19, I think some of our clients or importers had already moved to use the Central Corridor because the transportation cost is very high, and that's the information which I got from some of our importers. So maybe I'm asking if it's possible that maybe the increase of doing business, especially in terms of transport, is due to COVID-19. Is there any hope? I think this is addressed to transporters. Is there any hope that the transportation costs will reduce so that our people can come back to use the Mombasa port? I think another issue is concerning the geofencing, which the Executive Secretary of Northern Corridor has mentioned. I'm just requesting the East African Business Council if they can bring maybe one of the partner states on board so that the geofencing can be implemented, because it has been approved that connecting from Northern Corridor to the Central Corridor is cheaper than connecting to the Northern Corridor up to some of our countries. I think another issue which was mentioned is about the containers which take time at the border. I think this is the attitude of some of the staff who are on the ground. So my suggestion may be is to to have some people from different ministries who can be the focal people in case any container can take longer, maybe more than one day at the border. Maybe we can contact those people, because I've heard so many people to our country complaining. And I think there are some small issues which can be fixed, but the people who are there cannot be able to fix those issues. And this one also, it's very expensive to the people who are doing business. So if we can have some people whom we can be able to contact, yeah, I think this one can be very, very good. I think another issue was about the drivers. You mentioned if we can have time also and we train and talk to our drivers, especially the drivers who are the truck drivers on the ground, because I know they are facing so many challenges when they are transporting the containers. Another thing I think maybe part which I want to encourage, someone mentioned about the paperless. I just want to encourage people to come and learn from Rwanda, especially Rwanda Revenue Authority. We are paperless. Thank you very much. Any question or any challenge being faced by our importers, I encourage them to come and see us and we fix any issue which is being faced. I submit, Chair.
Thank you, Jen. I must commend Jen. Jen appears in a lot of our meetings, so we consider as part of private sector, not as a revenue officer. So she's part of us. She actually participates a lot, so I do appreciate that. We want to bring this session to a close, and I would like to invite, so that because I think all of us have, the panelists have talked substantially, so we really don't want to go into closing remarks unless there are any pressing issues. I would like to invite the chair of the East African Business Council, Nespit, to give us his closing remarks, and also probably either he or as a CEO will give us a way forward in terms of the discussions that we've had here. There are challenges that have been given to as a business community to us in terms of what we need to do. Everything is there now for us to be able to move forward. So as a region, as private sector, I think our commitment is that we want to work together through the East African Business Council to move the agenda forward. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Let's all give a clap to Mr. Langat for very ably leading the panel. And let's also give a clap to the panel for a very good discussion. And of course, as you were clapping for them, hopefully you were clapping for yourselves, for listening and still being here, and for your very good comments. So, I don't know if we are done, ED. If we are, so be it. We've done a lot of things in the interest of time, and I think it's because people have elsewhere to go. But some of us who have come here, we're here to work. So in a way, it's too bad we're ending, because there's a lot of rich content and it would be good to hear from everybody. But maybe we've captured the essence of the major points. So it's tough to summarize these last few hours, but I would say that we're guided by our true north here, which is the East African Community Treaty, which says that we have to do best for each other and for our citizens. It does not say anywhere in there that we have to do best for ourselves. We have to do best for everybody. So with that in mind, let me take some of the comments that stuck with me. And I think the beauty of being a chair is you have spent so much time in the trenches that eventually you come to this position and you get to be the one to summarize things. So as they say, the one who holds the pen is the one who defines history. So I will define the history of this meeting, but of course everybody has their own interpretations and things that they will walk away with. So with all due respect for all the comments, let me just bring out some of them that stood out from the many. One of them is, I think, a mindset. I think a mindset. And it's a mindset of what we have. And I think that perhaps is the major theme, even for us in East Africa. Do we have the mindset to be like a South Korea, a Vietnam, and many of these emerging nations? Or do we have a different mindset? A mindset that says we do not deserve Ini Ahawa. And I've gone on many of these trips, presidential trips and others, and as you're going in the bus or the taxi with others and you're looking at these buildings and you're looking at these highways and you're looking at the factories, the shame of it is people do not think that we deserve that. Why, as the cradle of mankind, should we not be the most industrious, beautiful, welcoming, attractive destination on earth? Dust to dust, ashes to ashes. Why aren't people coming back here? Big factories. Why isn't this Wani filled with beautiful resorts and hotels? Why is it that when you go to places like Rome, Dubai, Singapore, you name it, Vancouver, places that anybody in the world goes to and says, well, this place is beautiful. Why is it in those places where there is beauty, there's wealth? Why is it here where there's beauty, there's poverty? Why do I get off a boat here, coming from the marine park, in one of the most beautiful places on the world, some of the most beautiful beaches, sunsets, palm trees. And when I got off having paid, I don't know, $50 for my family to go snorkeling, that I would have easily paid $200 in California to have a similar experience, that an old mzee comes asking me for 50 shillings or 100 shillings to write my name on a black piece of wood. And the shame of that old mzee in paradise asking for 50 shillings. So when people are asking, we, who are the leaders, and I think they said we're over 35, or did they give another number? Some of us who are older, who's coming behind us? So it's a shame on us that we are failing our fathers and grandfathers and grandmothers, that they're still living in abject poverty, and this place is one of the most beautiful in the world. And it comes back to this mindset. So, sir, Mr. Mboya, you spoke extremely well about who is training the logisticians who are the nerve center, the vein. Who's having people think differently? I'm not just a wheel spinner, but I'm somebody who's carrying some very precious cargo that is going to save somebody's life or save their business or make them smile. People don't think that. Nikazi too. Let me break this 20 million shilling Mercedes lorry and feel nothing, right? That's a mindset issue. Many years ago, I was on the board of the central bank, and we had people from central banks of Jordan, Mauritius, South Korea, and some of these other places. And what the South Koreans, the people who were the same as us, you always hear in the 1960s, what they said is it starts from the village, the pride and the shame. There you kill yourself if you're involved in a scandal. Here, you get celebrated when you are involved in a scandal. It's a mindset. So a company like Amazon, one of the wealthiest men in the world, one of the biggest companies in the world, is all about logistics. It's all about logistics. And they have managed to upset the logistics cart. And what I mean by that is, for all of you who are in logistics, you are getting paid this in terms of value for carrying something worth that in value, right? What's on your lorries or what's on the documents you're transporting or moving is of significant value, and you just get a small fee. And you're not the wealthiest people, with all due respect. The wealthiest people are the people providing the value or moving the thing of value, right? But Amazon has turned it on its head. It moves all these goods, and it has become the wealthiest company, the rich, the most valuable company in the world, just about. Why? It's not only about mindset, but it's about processes. It's about digital. It's about transparency. It's about brand. It's about repeatability. All of those things mean that when you go to Amazon.com, you have an expectation that this thing is going to work. And so people keep going back to Amazon over and over and over again because it's the same experience every single time. So when people tell me, oh, we are cost conscious, that's why we don't pay. Kenyans are price conscious, that's why we don't pay. I don't believe them. I don't believe them. I don't believe them because when they're telling me that, they've just paid so much for a BMW that is many times more expensive than it should be in this country, and so on and so on and so on. But it's people like Jeff Bezos of Amazon who have defined brand and behavior. So we need the right mindset, but the right mindset means that we as leaders have to now get our people to follow processes and procedures and so on in the right way, so that we can turn the apple cart on it and we can actually show people that we can do the same thing over and over and over again. This hotel, Serena, the brand of Serena, when you come here, you know the kind of experience you're going to get. You'll see the same faces. You'll see the same kind of food. You'll see the same kind of everything. Are we doing that for our business? Are we doing that for our country? So I also like the comment about knowledge itself is not power, because we know many things. We do know many things. We have PhDs and degrees and all of those kind of things. Lakini, turning it into something, action is power. Repeatable action is power. Not just having the knowledge of what to do, not just having the idea of what to do. You know, a good idea, when its time has come, many people have that idea. The person who makes money from that idea is a person who actually does something about it first and repeatably. That's where the value is. And this, ladies and gentlemen, for us, this cultural change, making things happen, creating a brand, which means you're creating value, comes from us. The tone from the top. The tone from the top. Are we setting the right tone as leaders for our businesses and our institutions? I like the comment about public-private partnership, especially around engagement, especially around digital. And that means sharing of this information so people can make the right decisions. There are new platforms being developed around that, and we should encourage that. And of course, if we do all of this, we can start to lift people out of poverty. The whole conversation about poverty. How do we lift people out of poverty? How do we do the things as logistics people that make it cheaper and more efficient for people to get on with their day-to-day job, whether that's in agriculture or whether that's in business? How do you make sure that when somebody goes to a duka or goes to a shop, that the goods that that person wants are always there? And that's all about logistics. And I think, staying on the digital theme, it addresses corruption. If everybody knows the provenance of a container, everybody knows the provenance of the goods, there's no room for somebody to hustle, to change the bill of lading, to quickly sneak something in. The AEO organization or status we're hearing is not working. Why? Why? But then you take it a step further. Why shouldn't everybody be AEO who has already conformed to what is expected of them? So KRA is not here, unfortunately. KPA is here. So KPA, we people who are using you, and whether as customers or as agents, we want to collaborate more with KPA, especially on the digital standpoint, to ensure that everybody gets treated well, not just people who are paid so much. Even if you're the guy with Mitumba and you have a consignment of 5 people, that your goods can come through quickly because speed is money. And in terms of the way forward, KPA, Northern Corridor, East African Business Council, I think it's really important that the recommendations that are coming out of today, which you will share with everybody here, right? The recommendations, they must be driven forward. And we're here, which is beautiful to be in this very nice place. Lakini, when you come here, you have work to do. Meaning the rest of us, all of us, are going to keep you accountable, hold you accountable, to ensure the things that we have asked for and recommended get done. So it's not just a list. List who's responsible, by when. So let's make sure this is not just a talk shop, but this is a workshop. So work gets done. And in there, I think, you know, we in East Africa were so known for our inefficiencies. And where there's inefficiencies, instead of somebody fixing the problem, either one or two things or both things happen. A, if there's inefficiency, it creates the opportunity for a business person to create a new business to say, hey, that's a problem with the system. You give me some money, I know a guy in there, I'll go fix it. So inefficiency, create work, and the people who like it. When the government finds there's inefficiencies, they create a commission, a task force, which eventually leads to another department, which leads to another office, 1 or 2 Prados, workshops, trips, travel, because this organization is inefficient and this one's also inefficient. So another thing comes in between. Next thing you know, government is bloated, taxes go up, all of our taxes go towards recurrent expenditure, then we worry why there aren't street lights and there are still potholes. So again, the more we can digitize everything, the more we can share information between everybody, the more efficient we can become, and we can become a country that works, inshallah, as efficiently as Amazon. So you have the right culture, the right leadership, and you can put the right things in place to ensure that this can happen. So as EABC, you've been asked to hold and to provide and hold the tools that can effectively support trade and facilitate the movement of goods effectively. Take up that mandate. These inefficient agencies that are there, I don't know why they should all be there. With the people here, go looking for that money. Let's starve some of these organizations of their work. Take the money and let's put it to better use. As Miriam was saying earlier, there are so many organizations that have been created because of this inefficiency. They were created especially because there was a gap. Now that we've grown up, we no longer need to keep funding the gap. So return the money to us. Return to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. Return to the people what belongs to the people. And let's get on with it. And let's solve these problems quickly. Most organizations get solved to solve a problem. Once a problem is solved, they find an inherent reason why that problem should still exist. Otherwise, they are out of existence. And whether that is a government department or even to stretch it, some of the NGOs and the aid agencies that still believe in aid to help Africa instead of trade. And I think if we had more trade instead of aid, I think people would go. But just to be given food as opposed to being helped to fish or grow does not help us out of poverty. So we have some homework to do from all of this. I wish we could keep working. I like to take the advantage of there being 30, 40, 50 people in the room to work. But maybe some people want lunch and other things. So with those few remarks, let me thank everybody for their contribution. Let's all focus on developing a different mindset and leading the people that are behind us who are not in this room to greater heights. and let's uplift some poverty. And when you talk to other leaders, let's just call them people who are going to try and get elected to lead you, let's hold them all to a much higher level. And I'm taking that personally. All of these people who want to be the president of the country or whatever they want to be, unless you really are thinking about private sector and lifting people out of poverty genuinely and filling our highways with factories and farms and value added and delivering services, you ain't getting the private sector vote. This isn't just same old, same old, same old. This is about let's build wealth, let's go places instead of this. All right. So travel safely. Thank you all for coming. And nashukuru sana. Thank you. Anything more to say, Edie, or anybody else? All right.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chairman. Just to say thank you to our panelists, thank you to all stakeholders. This has been an exciting session. And I think Chairman has given us a task. Both KPA, Northern Corridor, EABC, FAIAFA, we need to work together to create wealth for this region, for our citizens. It's a huge task. As you mentioned, EABC is committed to work with all the agencies to improve efficiency, to create jobs, to ensure that the private sector takes or regains its place in the integration agenda. So we are very committed, and my colleague has requested that we could have a group photo outside here, just to remember this day, this exciting moment. And tomorrow, I remind everyone, tomorrow evening, we're going to have an excellent event, Yama Award, and I call upon everyone to be present during that exciting moment. The work has started, as the chairman has ably articulated. We need to work together. Those who are not members of EABC, I encourage you to join EABC because EABC is driving this region. Cultural shift, mindset shift. We are going also to become South Korea of East Africa. We are committed. We are going to drive that. This is the real team. This is the team that is here. We are going to make a change. And we have our wisdom from our panelists, our chairman. They are ready to support us to drive the region. Thank you very much. Wish you bon appetit. Oh, yeah. Bye-bye.
Yeah, Chairman, speak after you. And but I had a request to make, maybe two, because I thought they would come out in the summary, but they didn't. One is to make all our stakeholders comfortable about the logistics and transport professionalism and professionalizing going forward. The model bill at EAC, when most countries have taken, they have moved slowly to enact them into law, to enact it into law. When I consulted one time the Director General Customs and Trade, he was also asking me, why aren't the countries enacting this law? And I asked him if he could take it up and it's enacted at EAC level instead of going country by country, so that countries do amendments so that it's like the East African Customs Management Act. I wonder whether EABC would be willing to take it up with him, because he was willing, but we needed to make the request. So to put his fears at rest and his at rest and the rest of us, the fighting with the revenue authorities to want to remain in control, maybe that would be put, it would help in that regard. That's number one. The last one is, thank you, Chairman, for touching on it. But I wanted to add that actually the future belongs to the organized. And in that regard, I would love to see, I have been in this industry leadership for 25 years, but all the things we dreamed of most of them from day one are still dreams. So when do these dreams become reality? I would like to request EABC to work very closely with the Northern Corridor and Central Corridor authorities. You work together, we review our mandates, we take it to ESC and agree there. We need to be working in, very closely together so that we are not duplicating efforts, we are not wasting resources, we are working together in an organized manner. That's another one I would want to come out of this meeting, because Northern Corridor, for example, was there before ESC came into being. Before ESC came into being. Now even ESC came, EABC came. Who is doing what Northern Corridor has been doing? You are touching into it, ESC is touching into it. So can we get more organized, review our mandates, and stop wasting resources, and perhaps even share resources and responsibilities? I thank you. Sorry to have come in after.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mary. And I think those are additional takeaways from the team, from Northern Corridor Secretariat with the ABC. We need to work together. We need to ensure that resources are used optimally. We are not wasting. We need to align our mandates, align our advocacy agenda. We need to work together. And again, with the KPA, KRA, and also on Central Corridor. Generally, we'll be having a next month MOU with Central Corridor Secretariat, how to work together, how to share the resources we generate, and how to do a coordinated advocacy. And also, I also take a note from Chairman's submission. The authorized economic operator, generally it has been a call that AEO should be driven by EABC, and it is not a benefit for large companies alone. It should be a benefit to everyone. It should be inclusive to everyone. So that is a call also we need to take forward in terms of managing, coordinating AEO scheme with revenue authorities. And the EABC is going to play a pivotal role to that effect. The model bill at the ESC, I'm going to follow it up with DG Trade and Customs, Kenneth, and we are going to drive it, and I'll give you a feedback on that, and it's very critical. The same as skills enhancement, knowledge for the trade and the logistics industry, we are going to take it up as one of the takeaway from this session. So I think now with those key recommendations from the session, I want to invite everyone for our group photo outside. And again, we still have, we are together until tomorrow. We'll be interacting, we'll have one-to-one sessions or engagements, let's network, exchange cards, and let us work together in terms of building a competitive region. This is not the end of the session. We'll have more sessions, EABC, KPA, Northern Corridor, and KR. We'll be inviting everyone. This is the beginning, and we'll continue to deepen this engagement. I want to thank the organizers. Again, our collaboration with KPA is very critical, and I want really to convey my appreciation to KPA, management for hosting and sponsoring this event. And I think that's the paradigm shift, as the chair mentioned, in terms of how we want to drive the region. KPA is ready to put resources, technical, financial, to ensure that all the industry players are brought on board to discuss important areas of driving competitiveness. So thanks to KPA, thanks to the team from EABC, for excellent work, Silva, Brian, the communication team, the media fraternity, and everyone who has been very supportive. Again, the hotel, Serena Group, Chairman mentioned about the quality, again, and the excellent services we've received since we arrived here. And of course, the hosts, the Mombasa Council, the Mombasa leadership, really we want to thank you, and we commit ourselves to continue working together. So let me again request Silva to guide us in terms of logistics. Then we close. Thank you.
Thank you, CEO. We are going to have the group photo just at the entrance where you are coming in, just outside here. So thank you so much for coming, and enjoy your day. Asante sana.
All right.